The more aligned you are with your creative spark, the more you open up to the flow of source coursing through you and birthing into the world your creation, because it's the rhythm of source. It's the rhythm of all life. It's the heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ingrid H. Turner. This show is all about spirituality, psychic development, manifesting, stepping into our power, creative living, all of that yummy, juicy, good stuff. And I am so glad you're here. My name is Ingrid H. Turner. I am a psychic medium, I'm a psychic development teacher, and I'm here to help and support and exalt a very specific type of human. The ones who are a little out of place. You might identify with terms like misfit. I feel like the black sheep in my family. You never quite stick in. You're a little out of place. You haven't really found your groove. Here's why you haven't found a groove. You're making a new groove. And I'm here to help you do that. And I help you do that by helping you tap back into the source of yourself, trusting your intuition, developing your psychic skills, moving out into the world feeling more self-love, more empowerment, more courage. It's my job to get you trusting yourself and loving yourself and embracing your weird so that you can step onto your stage and share your gifts through the vehicle of your passion with as big an audience as you can handle. So again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. And I am happy to be on this journey with you. Words are a little hard, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. Share this out with whoever you think would benefit from this discussion. I'm so glad that you're here. So today, usually the way spirit works through me is pretty early in the day on Thursdays, sometimes earlier in the week, but usually on Thursdays because spirit likes to work in the moment. I will get a really strong hit about what I am to talk about on the Mystic Bit Show. And that was not happening today. And I was like, okay, spirit. And of course, the more anxious I got, the less I was going to be able to let anything through. And so I was just kind of churning around going, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not feeling inspired. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? So I sat down here about an hour at my desk, about an hour before the show, closed my eyes, went, all right, well, I need a little help here. So I pulled some tarot cards to give me like a boost. You know, what can I share? How can I be of service? I don't feel like I have anything like rushing through me. And I laughed when I pulled these cards because like, oh, duh. Of course, this is what I've been experiencing. I pulled the 7 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords. And I was like, oh yeah, that's totally it, isn't it? First of all, 2 7s. Anytime I pull multiple numbers in a tarot spread, I know that one of the primary messages is the numerology. 7s are about solitude. 7 is about contemplation and spirituality. It's a turning inward. And I was like, well, that's exactly how I've been feeling today. That's why I haven't had this coursing energy, this message from spirit that usually lights me up and bursts me open. And I come just ecstatic to these recordings. And I was like, that's what you need to talk about today is your experience. The experience of turning inward, the experience of going cold, of hibernating, the cyclical experience of our creativity, of our creative expression. Now, the 7 of Pentacles, more specifically, is about a gradual unfolding. And the 7 of Swords is about vulnerability, feeling vulnerable, needing to hold up, right? So let's talk about this creative process, all right? Creative energy is divine spirit. It is source energy. Anytime you're feeling, we've talked about that several times on our show, right? You know what I'm talking about. It's this creative energy and it flows through you. Source is flowing through you. It's birthing itself through your passion. It's coming into the world as your creative output. But the creative process is cyclical. Now, this can be brought through artistry or it can be brought through anything that you're passionate about. painting, poetry, or wrenching on cars. Whatever it is that lights you up and brings you into focus, that is where a creative energy, divine source energy is channeled through you. Okay, it's channeled through you. So the more you aligned you are with your creative spark, the more you open up to the flow of source coursing through you and birthing into the world your creation. The more you are aligned with that, the more you're going to recognize how cyclical your energy is. You go up and down in your energy levels, in your moods, in your output, right? Why is that? Because it's the rhythm of source. It's the rhythm of all life. It's the heartbeat. Boom, boom, boom. Your whole being begins to reflect this rhythm. And it's the rhythm of the seasons. It's the rhythm of creating life. It's the rhythm of everything. Everything is cyclical. Now, when we are detached from our creative source, from our creative spark, we lose touch with that rhythm. And that's how we burn out. And because we get up and we go to work and we go boom, 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 and we burn out. Brokenly spiritual. That's a great question. Do you think it is particular to hormones in women? I think women are more in tune with this energy because our body dictates it, but I don't think it's particular to women. I feel like it's a vast creative source energy. Women are just more tapped into it because of the nature of our experience in this body. But don't really feel like it's particular. It's just we're lucky to be more tapped into it. That's a really good question, though. So where was I? Just looking at my notes here because like I said, I'm not coming through this. Wow. So I'm like, wait, I have to write this down. So you become more aligned with the seasons, and even throughout your days, you can have multiple seasons, multiple cycles of creativity and creative output. Life becomes cyclical. All right. Which means that as you are aligned with your source, with that creative source energy, with your God heart, the closer you come into perfect union and unity with the vibration of all of creation and move that energy through you, through your creative output, the more you're going to notice these cycles in your life. You're going to have these periods that are really fun where you're like high energy and vibrant and blooming and blossoming and all creative output and ideas are just churning and everything is just happening. And we like this. You know what else likes this? The ego likes this. Our ego really likes that because our ego is conditioned to be productivity. You are not worthy unless you are productive. So says the ego. So says our generations of conditioning. And so when the cycle shifts, as it must, because you are in alignment with God's source energy, with that divine creator energy, and you begin to turn inward, it becomes colder, quieter, more contemplative. You want to burrow in and hibernate, and you don't have that inspiration sparking from you. That's when the ego starts to throw a bitch fit. And goes, oh, what are you doing? And that's when your mind starts to chew on you. It chews and it chews and it chews and it begins to give you all these problems and things that you should do and problems that you should solve because it wants to get you out of that nice warm fuzzy blanket, off of that couch and moving into productivity. So you are worth a damn. But you have to learn how to bypass that. Because when you are in tune with spirit, you are in tune with the cycles, and the cycles are not fucking logical. They're in your body, they're in your being, they're in your energy. And the more we are able to honor our cycles and go inward when we need to, brilliantly outward when we need to, the more we're able to be of service through the vehicle of our passion, through everything. So I've really been experiencing that with the mind lately. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, I noticed my mind starting to chew on me as my output slowed down. As everything in me began to slow down, I began to move slower, breathe slower, speak slower, moving slower and slower and slower. And as I slowed down because my cycle, my creative cycle was turning inward for that contemplation, for swimming in the wordless source flow. My mind started to kick up and give me all kinds of problems. And it would hook in with a problem. And I go, oh, put my tools to use. I do my somatic manifesting. I do my mindset work. I break free of my mental prison. The energy would start to flow. And immediately I watched my mind hook in with something else. Problem. And I'd do the same thing. I'd untangle it. And then it would hook in with something else. Problem. And I'd untangle it. At this point, there is a need to really just remind yourself that the mind lies. Your fear lies. It's just going to work on you because you are in a divine cycle. And we have a lot of conditioning around that. Ego's not the bad guy. I'm never saying it is, but it's unruly. And it's unruly because we are taught to put the ego in charge. And it is way above its pay grade. Where are you at in your creative cycle? How is Source working with you right now? And why do you think Source might be working with you in this way at this time? Why do you think Source slows us down? It's to root us in. It's to ground us in more deeply to our creative birthing. It's the gestation period before the big awesomeness comes forth from us. And here's the thing, the more we are able to honor that inward cycle, the more quickly we move through that process, the more gracefully we move through that process, and the more we deepen ourselves, our experience, and our creative output by honoring that process. Ooh, feels like I'm in the birth canal. That's a very intense place to be. That is right before you expand. That place tends to be filled with a lot of fear, a lot of tendency for self-sabotage, a lot of just, all of that, right? Now, on the flip side of that, here's the problem we run into that our ego provides for us when we are in a state of blooming and blossoming. We have to learn how to allow ourselves to be seen, to overcome this feeling of vulnerability and fucking do it anyway. Step up anyway, speak up anyway, show it anyway, post it anyway. All of that. All of that. Just be present with that. I love that you said my mind is throwing up a lot of hopelessness. We're detaching. We're watching our mind and its shenanigans. Like I was watching my mind and its shenanigans the last few days. Hook in, chew, chew, chew. Okay, dismantle that. Okay, fine. Hooking over here, chew, chew, chew. Whoa! The mind is doing what it needs to do. Not what it needs to do, what it's been taught to do, what it's been conditioned to do. And the more we're able to observe that, to be present in our body and honor your creative cycle no matter what, the less the mind does that, the more we're able to ignore that. Why does the mind fight our hearts so much? That's a really great question. And the answer is conditioning. Your mind is a sponge. It's a learning machine. It's a filing system, you know? It's out here taking in all the data and assimilating all the data. Your heart is spirit. It's just moving with what feels good. It's very simple, yes or no. But all of our life, from day one, my love, from day one, you have been told from one source or another, you can't trust your heart. You can't trust your passion. You have to get that checked by somebody. You have to check in with an authority. Somebody above you knows better than you do. You don't really know yourself. You wouldn't like that. You think you would. One of the stories I was told all my life was, you think you would like traveling full time, but you wouldn't. You're too insecure. You wouldn't enjoy it. You need more stability. When I finally had the courage to disconnect my mind from that story and allow myself to step into what my heart was pulling me towards, I'm in love with my life like I've never been in love with it before. I'm fully nomadic. I travel all over the world anytime I want. I can't imagine living any other way now. But one of the things that held me back from this for years was that conditioning around you and like that. You think you would, but you don't know yourself. It's a fantasy. You don't know yourself. So, trusting the need to go inward and not allowing your mind to pull you out of it with fabricated problems to solve. And you know they're fabricated because they're fear and anxiety. If you are chewing on yourself and you're afraid and you're anxious and you're freaking out, your mind is lying to you. Because in this moment, in the present moment, when you're here and in your body and your heart, every problem has a solution and you can see it right away. If your mind's chewing on it, it's fabricating stuff. And on the flip side of this, are you coming up against a story of, I'm not good enough. Nobody wants to see this. I'm afraid to put this out there. What if people don't like it? That's the flip side. Well, darling, if you're there, that's an ego story. Anytime your mind is telling you there's something wrong, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, any of those stories, they are always based on conditioning. They are not your voices. They are the voices of other. Not anybody's fault necessarily. We're not doing a blame game here. If your parents told you things like, hope for the best, but expect the worst, they're only passing on what they learned. And in their hearts, they feel like they are doing the right thing and telling you the right thing. Not in their hearts, in their mind. If they're in their hearts, they're not going to be telling you that. But in their mind, they're doing the right thing. You are so lucky and so blessed to be showing up in a time, to be alive right now, where this is a fucking pivot in a paradigm. Everything is changing. Everything is shifting. It's moving from fear to love. And you are the bridge. You are the bridge. Because you were born in a paradigm of scarcity and fear. And we are moving into a paradigm of love and unity. And so you're bridging that. And the more you are able to trust yourself, love yourself, step fully into your weird and wonderful, the more quickly and swiftly we as a collective sink into this new energy. This new earth that we're talking about, this new energy, it's carried in on the backs of the individual. The courageous ones who are ready to shed the shackles of their conditioning, of their conditioned unlovability, have a crazy moment of courage where they step into their power, into their gift, and blast it out into the world. You're the ones who are going to break us all free. I had a really intense experience, visitation before COVID hit. In February, so COVID kind of like got into its upswing in March or April, I think. In January, February, I had a visit from my guide, Mons. And he doesn't really show up spontaneously that often, that strongly. So when he does, I pay attention. So he said to me, he held this little ball of energy and he said, Ingrid, he said my name. He said, Ingrid, the energy is going to be very contracted for a while. Stay in faith and you will be rewarded. And then he was gone. And when COVID hit, I woke up on spring solstice 2020. And I knew why I'd been born. I'd been born to help, be one of the helpers to move us from fear to love. And the way that I do that is through this, is through helping you, individuals, find yourself, embrace yourself, love yourself, and trust yourself, tapping into your psychic gifts, learning how to master your energy, learning how to move through this world, a powerhouse, a beacon, instead of trying to shrink yourself and make yourself small, right? We're not doing that anymore. So if that resonates, if this message resonates, crash. I'm banging things around over here. Make sure you come back here next week. I am so grateful that you've been here, that you've been a part of this. What a community we're building. What a community we're building. This is like a motherfucking rocket ship, my friends. I move fast. We all move fast when we are in love with ourselves. And I want you on this ship so you can ride this wave with us. So you can ride this wave. Let's do this. Folks, thank you so much for today. This has been really, really fun. I'm really happy to have been able to be of service. Be sure to come back next week and we shall carry on together, okay? If you're looking for psychic development, download that bundle. Let me know how it goes for you. Be sure to give me a follow. And thank you so much. I appreciate you. I adore you. I'll see you next week. Bye, all.